you want to own every last minute of them. It's it's your child, so no matter how bad it is, you owe it to them to listen to those last moments. It was about midnight one night in June. I was in bed, my husband was in bed, and I heard a knock at the door. I ran down, and it was actually one of Justin, Etienne's friends, at the door, and he was very pale, and he said there's been an accident, and literally jumped in my car and said, I'll follow you to the crash scene. They'd blocked the road off. And I saw a police car, and I sort of jumped into the police car. I literally leapt out of the police car when it was still going, luckily sort of picked myself up off the road and ran over, and he gasped actually as he was on a stretcher thing. And I sort of said, Mum's here now, you're going to be okay. And they came in and said, it's a catastrophic brain injury. He's not going to survive, but he's still breathing. So we took him off life support. But what I didn't realise was how long it then takes for somebody to die. And that was the worst of it, that I just assumed, like in the movies, you take them off life support. 3 to 5 minutes later, they take their last breath. It was 2 hours of watching him gasp for breath in a sort of rattling way. I wouldn't like to describe him as a boy racer, which it's very difficult as a mum to say that, because it makes him sort of less of a victim. But I think he liked his car. And they'd gone to a meet-up, and that's where he was coming back from. And what had actually happened was that he wasn't going a ridiculous speed over, which actually shows that you don't have to be going at 90 miles an hour for it to make a difference. The road was wet. He also unknowingly had a nail in his back tyre, and he took a corner, and there was diesel on the road, so he took a corner way too fast on a wet road with a nail, and he went off the side of a ravine, and the car flipped. And unfortunately, even though there were girls in the car, there were plenty of places that he could have landed, but it landed on his side, and I think that he landed right on a wall, so his head hit the wall. And when I went back to look at where it had happened, there was no wall anywhere apart from this one little tiny bit of wall. And I just thought, how unlucky can you be that you would, land there. So yeah, that was the moment that really our lives changed for good. Functionally, I couldn't cook, I couldn't dress myself. I just wanted to die, really. And that carried on, wanting to die for 2 years. And that sounds really selfish, and then you sort of get to a point where you really beat yourself up a bit, because obviously I've got another child, but it's almost like, I can only describe it as you cut yourself off emotionally from everybody. Maybe that's a defence mechanism, but I cut myself off from emotionally from my son, from my husband, and I was just spent most of my waking hours thinking, right, what's the best way to end my life and be with my son? I have to say, in the very early phase, when this actually happened, we had an excellent, I don't know what they're called, is it police liaison officer, called Trish, and I have to say, without Trish in those early days, I don't think we'd have got through. She was professional but empathetic as well, so you got a feeling you were safe with her, and that's quite a theme really as you move through this sort of process of grief, that you can only really relate moving forward to people you feel safe with. You know, it's not worth it. You know, if you've got dreams and you've got aspirations, my son was a clever boy, you know, with so many aspirations. He would have made a difference in some way, you know, and so he's lost the opportunity to have children. He did write a song actually once about having a dog. He wanted a husky dog, having a wife, having a good job, and he has none of that. He's basically stuck on my side in a container, and will never have that. So don't speed.